Good evening, everybody. Welcome out to the webinar tonight. We apologize here. We're getting started just a minute late here, but I think we're good to go now. I think I've got Steve on the line as well, right?
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. The night before Thanksgiving, I guess Thanksgiving Eve, and talk about tax lien and deed investing.
Yeah, I think well, I think people are probably out traveling or on the way. So if anybody is unable to make it, we'll have it recorded for them, so they can always listen to it afterwards. So yeah, I think it is tomorrow here. Season's coming up on us, so. Um, for tonight's webinar, I think we wanted to talk about a couple of different things, but let's start with just any kind of news or announcements. Um, the biggest announcement that we really have is just for the upcoming buying tour or boot camp on the 9th, 10th, and 11th of September. That will be in Las Vegas. We've already got attendees there, and so now it's just a matter well, I guess it's a deal. So if it's something that you would like to do, or if you are interested in doing tax sale investing at all, really this is going to be, I think, the best opportunity to get a lot of in-depth one-on-one time. Which is what I think a lot of people are looking for. In fact, the more Steve and I talk about this kind of a format, the more we like it, because we have lots of members that join that want to invest into tax liens and tax deeds, but they just need a little bit more help than than what they can get, or they feel like they need a little bit more help. They feel like they need a little bit more of a push, and so this will be a good opportunity for us to work individually with people for over the course of 3 days to make some investing happen. We want to see everyone that attends this thing buying stuff, investing, and having a lot of success. We want it to be a fun thing that we're able to do on a regular basis for those people that want a little bit more help, and they want to kind of turn their investing into something that they can take care of over the course of a weekend.
Yeah, and I'm so excited about this event. Nothing like this has ever been done before, at least not that I've ever known of, where you're not just coming to learn, and be upsold into some ridiculous $30,000 package. I mean, essentially, this is our ultimate thing, and this buying tour is going to have, I mean, not only are you going to have the opportunity to learn, you're going to have the opportunity to work with me, Shadon, one-on-one, put together investor profile types for you, fit together a personal strategy and the states, and really put together a plan. But we're also going to have bank-owned tax liens there. We're going to have over-the-counter list. We're going to have all of the online auctions. Students, ourselves included, will be looking at some online auctions in Florida for some deeds during that time, and doing research and going through that with you, but also your personal deals. Really, what we want to be able to do is help you get ready to take the next step into the new year. Really be ready, so that there's just a lot of opportunities that's going to be coming up over the next 90 days. And for those investors that really want to get going, this is a way to capitalize on that.
Yeah, I think you're right when you say that it hasn't been done before. And the reason why, if people are wondering, the reason why something like this hasn't been done before is because normally when a company is looking at doing something like this, it is they're companies that have a large marketing budget, and they spend a lot of money putting people in seats. And what ends up happening is I think that they have more they're more talk, I think, than actual action. And so what ends up happening is you spend money to go to some kind of a thing, and they spend half the time while you're there trying to sell you into a bigger package. In fact, somebody we were talking with just a few days ago is somebody that had that happen. Basically, spent thousands of dollars to go to a like a workshop or a boot camp, essentially, and then while they were there, they were just pressured into buying a bigger package for $30,000 or $40,000. And we hear that echoed many times over from different people that are, attending events. They have the desire to learn. They're willing to do whatever it takes to make that happen. But I think that they get there and they're let down. We want this. We want this to be just the opposite, where where we're able to take a small group of people and help them be really successful with it. That we're able to help everybody buy things and make money with the either with tax liens or tax deeds, the different investments we'll have available. So It will be pretty neat though. It's 3 full days to work with everybody, and it's going to be a pretty small group. I mean, we're planning on keeping this group small enough that we can fit into essentially a boardroom. That's kind of the idea here is to fit everybody into a boardroom. So that should be uh, something we're really looking forward to. Nice, small, intimate gathering there where we can get to know everybody and where we can help people make money.
Yeah, I mean, really, we want this event to and this seminar and this kind of this buying tour to be a place where we meet friends for life. I mean, we have a chance to get together to really help you guys get started and to help investors be successful. I mean, that's the reason me and Shade have done this and continue to do it, even on this type of a scale, is just because we love helping investors get started. We love helping people um, better their lives. I mean, even in something as simple as coming and purchasing over-the-counter tax liens and bank-owned certificates, or if you want to get investing with deeds, it's really going to be a good opportunity, and we're going to be excited to have the people there. I mean, I'm just so excited about it, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, yeah, it's about 2.5 weeks away from now. If anybody has any questions on it, or if you'd like to know anything about it, let us know. We're also including it includes some team coaching sessions as well that we'll start conducting about a week from now to help people get prepared for the workshop. We'll have some sessions that we'll conduct also after they attend the workshop, so that we can help do with follow up and things like that for this group. So. We've got some time. If you are looking for a vacation and a chance to make some money, I think it should be a good time. So, other things here, or the other things we want to talk about tonight. We want to talk about investing in the months of December and January. We want to look at some of the opportunities that are there. I think commonly there are times they're kind of skipped by investors, I think, would you say?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, when we're looking at December and January, there's the counties are still holding auctions, so there's still things taking place, but most people are doing the holidays, or they kind of take that off, and a lot of investors do. And so what that does is that just gives us a great opportunity as investors to really key in on some markets and some different tax sales, and really try participating in tax sales over that time.
Yeah, it seems like oftentimes, the difference between making, some money and making a lot of money is with something small, like finding that deal. It's some way that you tweak how you're investing, and one of those ways you can do that is by showing up when other investors don't. Being there to invest when traditionally there aren't other people. That's how you get some great deals. And so, yeah, it should be good. We're going to talk about that. We're going to review some of the upcoming auctions. We'll check out some properties, and we'll also try to leave some time for Q&A afterwards if anybody has any questions. So we'll try to keep tonight's training shorter so that it's not so long. Let everybody get back to their lives here. Um, so first off, I think Steve started to hit on this earlier. The fact that even though it's the holidays for everybody else, that most county governments just continue to operate just like normal. So basically, if you look, you'll see that that they have sales, tax sales taking place, throughout the holiday season usually. So you can always find sales, and usually some of those closer to, well, I guess deeper into the months of December and January tend to have less competition. Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, really, when the tax sales season kind of really starts kicking off as far as investors are concerned, will probably be the Arizona sales, that take place in February. That's where, a lot of the investors will start investing. And so, that time frame between now and then, between February and between when the Arizona tax lien sales start happening, there's going to be all kinds of different opportunities to take advantage when sometimes I mean, if, we can't look at a ball and, a crystal ball and predict what the auction is going to be like. But traditionally, in looking back every single year during December and January, we end up finding great tax sale deals, incredible deals. I mean, you know, LA County has over 600 properties available in their sale. in the middle of December. How many people are going to be bidding on that auction? Well, we're not sure, but there could be good opportunities in all of these different auctions.
Yeah, in fact, I don't think that there is a sale. When you get a sale where they have as many properties like that, like 600 properties, what ends up happening is they have more properties than they can market to in terms of getting people out there to buy it. Because even though they're online now and everything is easier, they still don't have a ton of exposure compared to most other forms of investing. So, yeah, if you've got 600 properties there, you're definitely going to have a shortage in bidders for all those properties, which means there will be a lot of really good deals that will come out of it that day. So, um, it's also if I think if you want to do well in 2017, right now is the time that you really kind of have to start planning for that and doing it. So if you can start to work on it now, you can hit the ground running, in 2017 and really accomplish a lot here with your investing. So, um,
Well, and there's some people that may want to, for tax reasons or business reasons, may want to, for some reason, put their money in or do some investing this time of year before the new year starts. And so that's something to think about as well.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And there are a lot of auctions and sales taking place, like Steve mentioned. We'll get the chance to talk about some of those. But the first being New Jersey. If you want, Steve, you can tell us a little bit about New Jersey and what's taking place.
Yeah, I mean, New Jersey wasn't a state that we focused a lot, especially in the past and over the last few years we have, really because it had many, many different auctions because the auctions are held by the cities, they're held by towns, they're held by boroughs, they're held by the counties, they're held on all different types of levels, and so there's all different types of tax sales. So to really focus on there, you had to really be an investor there. So we worked with a lot of New Jersey investors that would go there locally and participate in the auction. But what's happened over the last few years, really the last year and this year's it's exploded, is the New Jersey tax sales are all moving online. And I'm not sure how many are online right now, but I would say, a good portion of them. And so what that does for us is that gives us a great opportunity as outside investors to start investing in New Jersey tax sales. Now they offer an 18% interest rate, which is a great interest rate. But the good thing is there's all kinds of different auctions taking place, and also the real estate in New Jersey is pretty valuable. So, when you're looking at that lien to value ratio that we talk about in the training, you're really looking at some pretty high value properties that are located through these different areas. Now there will be some competition, but the good thing about a tax lien investor is we kind of determine that what we're willing to get. And so if it goes below that, then we just let them go. The good thing is that there's so many more other auctions that we can use, and they're all using the realauction.com system.
You know, when a state goes from I guess when counties within a state or municipalities within a state go from live sales to online auctions, in a way, it's kind of like opening the floodgates because basically what it means is up until this point, there was only so much tax lien investing, that you could do in a place like that when the sales were still live. But once they go online, it means that I think it just simplifies the whole process. It means that they've put in into they've got a number of different things in place there to make it easier for investors to do. So you'll probably be able to do a lot of research on the online records. You'll be able to locate information. Basically, you won't have to. In the past, sometimes we used to run into roadblocks where information just wasn't online yet. With New Jersey now, everything should be online that you need.
Yeah, absolutely. And it makes doing the research easy. It makes it going through and researching and because all you're able to do is just click on the links and view what the property is and then from there do some additional due diligence. Now in New Jersey there's usually two types of tax sales. And and so this makes New Jersey nice as well is because there's lots of opportunity for auctions. A city or a borough, a city or a town or a county may hold an auction more than once a year. So first they have the standard sale, and this is going to be held usually within the current year for the delinquent taxes. So this is usually going to be held, in the earlier part of the year, around June, July, kind of those type of months. They also have what's called the accelerated sale. And this is held at the end of the tax year. So this is essentially, these are these auctions that many of them will be coming up now. There is also some standard sales, but there's a lot of accelerated sales. And essentially that's for the end of the year tax that was delinquent for that most current portion. So these people are the most current delinquent um, homeowners or property owners. So essentially what that does is it doesn't make a huge difference, but it does give us more opportunity to be able to participate in these different types of auctions.
All right. Let's see here. Um, in the past too, if I recall, New Jersey used to work with big institutional bidders too, right? They would have somebody come in and would buy up all the stuff from like one municipality.
Yeah. There was some of that in I believe with some of the smaller counties, but they also just sold them individually to investors. And so uh, really what's kind of changed is these online auctions just makes it really easy for the county to be able to conduct their auction and also to be able to offer their tax liens out to a, a way bigger audience. Because if you think about these individual New Jersey tax lien, I mean, the only person this has really hurt is the people that live in New Jersey. Because if you lived in New Jersey and did New Jersey tax lien investing, well then you could go to all of these different townships and cities and be able to participate in the sales. But for all of us that don't live in New Jersey, these online auctions give us the opportunity to participate in these tax lien sales in all of these different little places, in these cities and towns, and it gives us an opportunity to participate without having to go to the auction, without having to drive out and look at the property. It makes it, pretty easy to be able to become a tax lien investor with these online auctions. Now, as far as after the sale, once you've essentially purchased the tax lien certificate, the tax collector is going to deliver the certificate to the bidder within 10 days of the sale. Now, one thing that's a little bit different about New Jersey, and I could put out a little bit more information on it if people are interested, is especially if any of our members end up bidding on them, is it's the responsibility of the bidder to record their lien with the county after they receive the certificate. So it's going to be done, so it's a little bit different where you're going to have to, once you purchase that tax lien certificate and received it, then you're going to go ahead and have to record the lien with the county or the city or whoever. Excuse me, with the county. So because it's done on a city level, you're going to have to record it on the county level, the lien. So the lien's being sold through the city, but you're going to have to record it with the county, if that
Yeah,
makes sense.
I think that makes sense. So essentially, in other words, because the property's foreclosed on by the local municipality because they're the ones that might be issuing the actual property tax.
Yeah,
But
they're the
they
ones that take the delinquent taxes, but it's the county's job to essentially do the foreclosure. So you're going to need to essentially, record it with the county so that they have that on record when you start, if you need to start the foreclosure.
yeah, I think that makes sense. Um, yeah, if you want, you can go ahead and talk you can talk about this too.
Yeah. As far as a lot of times we have questions. Can I purchase the additional tax liens? And New Jersey makes it pretty simple. Once you purchase that tax lien, you have the right to pay any delinquent charges that don't before they go to sell. And these are in terminology terms, as far as the county's concerned, they're called subsequent payments. So when you're talking with them, that's kind of the terminology they're going to understand. But what this gives you the ability to do is even if the person is delinquent for that, you can check each 6 months or each 3 months, depending on how they do the property taxes, and see if they're delinquent and pay that delinquency and automatically start earning interest on that money or on that, that essentially that tax lien or that delinquent money that you put into it. So that gives you the opportunity to continue every time that person's delinquent, essentially put in, buy that delinquency and continue earning money, interest on that money as well. So it gives you kind of an ability to continue uh, buying that tax lien. So if you do go to the foreclosure within 2 years, you have the ability to go ahead and foreclose on it and acquire the property, and you don't have to pay off any other lien holders. There's no issues with that because you've been the person paying the delinquency. But then if they pay you off, they're going to have to pay you off not only the lien amount, but also all of the additional amount with the interest that's going to be involved with that as well.
It seems like it's really easy sometimes for people to take for granted um, just how big of a part of the process, those subsequent payments and being able to earn the maximum interest rate return is after that. I mean, the first time you go to do anything, it's going to be fairly difficult, and that is the same goes with counties. That's when everything is unknown. That's when the first time you attend a sale, there will be plenty of things that you don't know or that are new to you. But uh, you know, when you purchase tax liens, uh, owning the lien itself is a big deal. Just because it will enable you to make, to earn the maximum interest rate return on more money. So even if you were dealing with some kind of a competitive auction, where the bidding rates, get bid down quite a bit, the interest rates, even if that were the case, if you hang on to the investment after a while, there are several different things, that could occur that would cause you to make the maximum interest rate return. Um, you know, for instance, anything following, any kind of a subsequent payment, that comes in, you can have the lien for, which means you'll make the maximum interest rate return on it. Um,
Yeah, and
you know,
it really just comes to expectation too. I mean, with what interest rates you're willing to accept. Even if we were to just talk about the stock market or mutual fund and say, hey, we can guarantee a 6 or an 8% return, uh, every single year, that most people would jump on that in a minute, especially with what's happened over the last 10 years. But with the tax lien certificate, I mean, let's say that you purchase a tax lien and maybe you're only getting 8 or 10% on it, but it's, $1,000 tax lien on a $300,000 piece of property. You may be accepting a little bit lower interest rate, but you've also attached it to an incredibly nice property, a property with a ton of value. So, not only is your interest rate guaranteed, but also it's guaranteed by the property, and you're talking about high value properties. So it really kind of comes down to expectation and really what you're looking for when you're looking at these different sales. Some of them are going to have more competition than others, and as you go through one, you'll be able to see kind of where they're at, and each one's going to be a little bit different.
yeah, it is. It's true. Even the way that we look at 8 to 10%, if this were any other type of investment, 8 to 10% would be amazing, but because we know that that the maximum in a certain state is X amount, it makes us feel like anything less than that is not very much. When in reality, yeah, if you could earn 8 to 10% on just about any investment, I think most people jump on that. Typically the only kind of investments that usually pay off, that high are ultra high risk investments, and they also have the chance to lose the money. So the rate of return for tax liens is impressive. It's also it's not affected by fluctuations in the market. The market can do whatever crazy things it wants to do, but it wouldn't change the return or the security level for that lien. So uh, you know they do have a lot of advantages. In that way, they are pretty well bulletproof to any kind of changes, in the
Yeah,
market.
and usually if they have more competition, it's because um, essentially it's a nicer property. That's the reason there is more competition because the property has an incredibly high value. It's in a really um, desirable neighborhood or whatever the reason it is. That's usually the reason there's a little bit more competition is because it might be a little bit more prime property. You could look at maybe a property. Many times you can find still great properties that may be overlooked that are still great, earning great interest rates and huge returns. And so it just kind of depends on your strategy as you go into the tax sale. But there's always going to be good tax liens at every auction that we're able to get acquired at good interest rate returns. Um, One quick thing about New Jersey tax liens is the unredeemed liens. Essentially, that's kind of the terminology they use. But after 2 years, of purchasing the tax lien, or whenever that tax lien was issued, whenever it was initially purchased, you can go ahead and start the foreclosure process. And so you'll do this in the Superior Court within the county, and that's part of the reason that you'll want to, record the lien with the county to begin with. But once the foreclosures are granted, essentially the tax deed is going to be issued in your name, and so you're going to take possession of the property. At that point, depending on if the property is vacant or if it's a home or a business, depending on that, you'll essentially take ownership of it, and you can do it with what you want. You can do what you want with it after that. You could rent the property out, you could sell it, you could sell or finance it, you could do whatever you want with it. You're going to become the owner if they don't pay you back within that 2-year period. So overall, New Jersey is a pretty nice state to invest in, especially if you're looking to get the chance to acquire property. Florida's nice because you don't have to do the foreclosure, but with New Jersey, is one of those states where you're going to be able to acquire the property. So that makes it nice as well. And a 2-year redemption period isn't a long period to be able to do that. Now, New Jersey doesn't generally sell over-the-counter tax liens. What they'll generally do is if it's not sold at the tax sale, then they'll just go ahead and issue it to the county. And after 6 months, if the county can start issuing the foreclosure process if the county wants to. But what's also nice about New Jersey is they have an 18% interest rate. So you're looking at a high interest rate return. You get a chance to acquire property, and they have online auctions. So it's definitely something that we're going to focus on more as this new year comes around as New Jersey, and helping our students invest there.
It's also interesting when we talk just about unredeemed liens. When it comes to property taxes, there are some liens that will almost have to, have the foreclosure process initiated with them in order to redeem. I think, like Steve was saying here, I think you're going to increase your chances of being able to foreclose on a property, when it goes past the redemption period. But just because it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to end up going to foreclosure. It just may be one of those properties that needs to have that threat of foreclosure before the property owners will finally come up and pay, because the vast majority end up redeeming, and some of those will redeem after foreclosure has been filed.
Yeah, absolutely. So, New Jersey is definitely a good place to look at. On Tax Sale Support on the website, we have all of the New Jersey auctions listed there, and I check it on almost a weekly basis to see if there's new counties and they add new cities, and they are adding them. So we'll just constantly keep that updated. You won't need to go to any other source to find those. You can just go to Tax Sale Support, and we'll have all of the updated information there. Now, in addition to New Jersey, which has a ton of auctions coming up over the next few months, uh, there's also going to be Washington and California. Now, as far as Washington and California, there's 9 tax deed auctions that are going to be held in Washington over the next 30 to 45 days or 60 days, and there's 6 tax deed auctions in California. Coming up over the next 30 to 60 days. So essentially, there's a lot of opportunity for deed investors to get started in tax deed investing in both Washington and California over the next 30 days. And the good thing is a lot of these auctions are a week before Christmas, or right after, or kind of throughout December. And so that gives us some good opportunity where maybe other investors are worried about other things. Gives us an opportunity to participate in some of these sales.
Let's see here. And Florida as well. There's always a lot of stuff going on in Florida. They have over 50, over the next 60 days. That is a ton of sales.
Yeah, absolutely. They're going to be you can use Real Auction, and also Grand Street Group has 2 counties as well. So there's going to be over 50 tax deed auctions coming up over the next 60 days. And one thing that's nice about Florida, if you're looking to become a tax deed investor and you want to build up rentals, or you want to have a specific area that you just continue investing in, and you can't do it within your own state. For example, me and Shade live in Utah. We have sales once a year. The properties are not a huge amount, and they generally end up getting bid. So So for somebody like us, Florida would be the best place for us because first of all, they have a high rental market. The rental prices are pretty high. In addition to that, they have lower priced real estate, so we can bid on many of these properties without bidding 50 or $100,000. You can acquire properties for 10 or 20 grand and be able to turn around and flip them or rent them out. And so once you picked a particular county that you're interested in, you can continue investing there because Florida is going to have auctions almost every single month. So you can say, well, I'm going to look for this particular county, or I'm going to create one here. And then if you want to, and you build your power team within that area, so you have somebody that's able to go take pictures of the property for you, uh, depending on your strategy, either list it, somebody to take it through a quiet title, or to rent it out. So you'll have that whole power team built where you can just continue reinvesting in that area year after year and build up your rental market, or that's where you do your real estate flips and you have buyers there. Whatever it is, you create a power team within that particular county.
Yeah, it really is like the first time you do it is kind of like blazing trail, and it is always a lot easier. After that, it's so you don't have to. I think a lot of times when people start to get into it with one county, they think, oh, this is a lot of work, and it is a lot of work. But it gets easier, as time goes on. It's not always going to be that unfamiliar and that that difficult. So, yeah, yeah. Why don't we take a look at some different sales taking place here? And let me just switch this over here. Actually, well, let me see here. Switch this over. Steve, I could probably hand it off to you if you want to take me through the sites.
Sure, sure, that wouldn't be a problem.
Let me switch this over here. It's gonna be easier. Okay, there we go.
Okay. Alrighty. So hopefully you should all be able to see my screen. What we want to do first is I want to go take a look at some of these New Jersey tax lien sales. So we can see the list here, and you can see how big it is. In fact, I have not updated it for 2 weeks, and so I got to go through. I was looking at it before we started, and I actually started updating a few of them because some of these ones that are to be announced have started their auctions. And so you can see all of these different auctions. And what we have here is we'll have the auction date if they've announced the date. If they just have the site opens, which the auction is coming up, they haven't solidified the day yet, but it's going to open up for review on these dates. Then it'll have the date there. So you can see if it has the auction date, this one was on 11/10, or if it says site opens, then that's essentially when the site is going to be open. That's how you can kind of determine. So we can see that there's one coming up. The site opens 11/16 for Atlantic City. Now, once we click on the website, one thing I like to do is like to go up here to the left-hand side and I click on the bidding rules because I want to get an idea of when the sale is. So we can see it's going to be held 12/14 of 2015. I wonder if that's wrong. I wonder if they've changed it yet. They just may not have changed the dates because it still says 2015 there. But let's go ahead and go back.
Yeah, I'll bet that's wrong.
I think it's just a mistake. I think it's supposed to be 2016, but they just changed it from last year. So anyway, if we want to, it is up and running, so you can go ahead and click on the preview items for sale, and you can see which tax lien certificates are active. In fact, this is where me and Shade went through, and we found some of these ones here at the. I guess that one's not one. I saw one earlier. It was the Taj Mahal. But let's look at one of these other little bit smaller counties, or one of these. So here's Book Brown, Somerset County, 11/10. Here's Bridgewater. Okay. So this one was held 10/21. I'm trying to find the county I was looking at earlier. Let's see if I've got on the Word doc. Okay, here's a good list. So as we go down, we're going to have just limited information with the cell list. And so when we're looking at a cell list like this, we're generally just going to be looking at the face amount and any other information that's provided. But really, we're going to be looking at the tax liens by the face amount. So essentially, that's how most people are going to be, kind of know how much they have to spend or how much they'd like to spend. So let's say you have $10,000, then you could look at one tax lien, like this one here, that's $8,000, and maybe one that's less than that, or vice versa. But you'll be kind of determine how you're going to split that up. If you have 5,000, then you'd maybe look at a $2,000, and from tax liens from $5,000 down to $1,000. But let's go ahead and take a look at this one here. For $2,000, we can see the parcel ID here, and then right here is the ADV number. When we click on this, it's going to pull up just the basic information. This is real good just to see what the property is. So we can see that it has a assessed value of 196. The building value is only 46,000, but the land value is 150. We can see it's residential property built in 1971 on just under half an acre. And then we also have the address right here. So we can go ahead and click on that, but we can also check out the map if we'd like. And that should pull up the Google map. Let's see if it pulls up this other stuff. So there we see the taxes. We can see the property taxes. That cost is going to be the cost taken on by the county. And then we can also click on certificate history. So there's no certificate history to display at this time. So let's go ahead and click on the assessment. It's not pulling it up for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the address, and I'm going to do it myself. I pulled up a ton of them. That's because it needs 14G. Let me pull up the full address. So what we're essentially looking at is we just want to verify. I mean, we can see right here that there's a single-family home and it has value, but we want to continue to verify some of the additional records on it. Oh, come on. Oh, you got to be bad for me. It's funny, when I was looking at it earlier, I had no problem. One thing I can also do is we can look by the number. Well, let's go ahead and check it on Google Maps real quick. Oh, actually, I got that right here. So we just want to see if we can get an overhead view, a street view, something of it to give us a better idea. Okay, so it looks like it's actually going to be. Oh, that's the reason it's in a. It's like a condo. So we'll click here the street view. Oh, it's actually pretty tall one. So it's this property right here. So if we go back here and look at this, we can see that this is 14G. So it's going to be in this this big building right here. Let's take a look on.
So it's essentially it's a $2,000 lien against a property that the county's estimating to be worth nearly 200,000, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we know.
Yeah. So I mean, really, you're looking.
Oh, I was probably going to say the same thing, as what you're about to say. You're looking at, a lien that has a lien to value ratio of about 1%, maybe less. Once we see what the value is here, which it looks like it's about 202,000.
Yeah. So we can see that it's a one-bedroom studio. It's in this large building, and I wouldn't be surprised if at that type of value for that smaller place, it's probably kind of a more desirable condo. And you can also see some of the ones that'll be over here. It's in something like this. So you're looking at a more valuable property. Has some pretty good value on it. Let's go back here and let's see why
Yeah,
this is.
they have the rent estimate listed at like $1,600, 1680, I think is what they had just listed there, which is
Yeah,
quite a bit. It means that
there we
for
go.
what's starting out there at a $2,000 opening bid, you have property that has the capacity, or potential to bring in 1,500 to 1,800 a month in rent. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, yeah, not bad at all. Overall, do some more research on it. But when you're looking at tax lien investing, you know, it's it's not as hard as complex as it has to be. I mean, essentially, we're looking at just the value of the property, and so a condo like this is you're not going to be worrying about some of the other things that you may worry about if it's like a single family home or something like that. The condition of the outside or anything like that, because, the condo is a condo and you can only do so much bad things to a condo. I mean, as far as without somebody else, noticing. And so, overall, you're looking at a very safe investment. We can see it's got one owner. And we can also see one thing here as well that's noticeable is the owner's address appears to be different than the property location, which tells me that this is probably a rental or something like that.
Yeah.
Because we can see the owner, lives in Palisades Avenue while the property location is on River Road.
Yeah,
So,
also it's also interesting to note, being able to look and see the tax, the certificate history or the tax history with the property is nice because it allows you to go in and to see what exactly the property owner does on a year-to-year basis. And if it's the same property owner every time, then you can pretty well count on those results, to repeat themselves. So if you look and you see that the property owner, may have had liens issued in past years, but they're paid off shortly after. That's probably what will happen in this case, as well. If it's on the other side of it there, where the property owner is never redeemed and he has all, there are all these liens against the property, then you might have one, that would be a little bit more difficult to get cleaned up. But something like this would be pretty straightforward, when it looks like, if it looks like all of the taxes have been current except for this one, then it's got a high chance of just redeeming and paying out a high interest rate return. But that tax history will tell us that kind of thing. It'll tell you about what you can expect from the property owner. So this is supposed to be a different one we're looking at here. I don't know if you're on mute, Steve.
yeah, I was talking away. Need to do my hand mute. We can see that this property here is a commercial, and we have the address right here. We can see it has a value of 298, and what's crazy about it is it has a building value of only $6,000. It looks like it's all land value. So I was just interested to see what it could possibly be, and I don't know if it's this parking lot. What we'd have to do is we'd actually have to look into the county records a little bit more. Let's see if it'll pull it up now. For some reason this county's not pulling them up, but what we'll do is we'll just go ahead and take the address and see if we can get something. I did pull up something. I'm just interested to see what it could be classified as.
Yeah, I don't know what that 4A classification is.
Yeah, we would probably have to look into it. And so for this particular tax lien, if you were, did a lot of tax lien investing, you dig into it. For a new investor, if you can't automatically see where the value is coming from, it's 66 by 102. So it's possible it could be something here, but I would imagine with only a $6,000 value, land value, it's probably more likely, like this right here, and they gave it a $6,000 value as far as the asphalt is concerned. So maybe this building is on one lot and the parking lot is on another lot. And you could look into it more but usually for a new investor, for just take a look at a different one.
Yeah, also investments like that are pretty well guaranteed to redeem because they would adversely affect other investments. Which you'll see that sometimes. You'll see a house that where maybe the owner owned both lots and but he built it, made it kind of like one lot. And if one of those were to get sold or were to be foreclosed on, it would cause a lot of problems. With properties like that, you can pretty well guarantee that they're always going to redeem because somebody will be affected by it if it doesn't. If it doesn't redeem there, then suddenly that property, they lose their parking space at the condos or something like that. And with a situation like that, you can always be sure that they're going to pay off the amount. And if they didn't, what you've got has so much leverage there that it's easily worth the investment. Somebody will pay to take it off your hands there.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's another little property here. We can actually see somebody sitting out front. So here's a tax lien. We can see it's for about $2,500. Has assessed value of 493. Oh, here's the owner's information down here below, and that may be a good way to actually, if we can't pull up the information, to look underneath the owner's information to find more information on the property. But overall, we can see it was built in 1910, and it was a number 2 residential property. So if we Google map the property, Google view it here, here's the property. Overall, looks pretty clean. Looks like it has a nice. Overall, it looks like a pretty clean property, even though
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
pretty old.
it's very well kept.
Yeah, when we look at on Zillow, it's got an estimate of 662,000, with a rent estimate of 2,200 feet. 2,200 feet, 2,200 a month. I was looking down here at the square feet at the same time, and then we can see it's about 2,300 square feet. Um, we'll see if they have any additional information on it. Looks like that's about it. But overall, you're looking at a $600,000 property against, with a $2,500 lien on it. So, your property, the chances of getting your interest or getting your money back is incredibly high. And if not, you're looking at a $600,000 property for the delinquent taxes that you've paid on it.
Yeah, really, anytime, I mean, anytime, well, you could buy tax liens and it would be a safe investment if you were buying them at 10 or 20% or 30%, of bid to value ratio. But when it's like this, where it's like under a 1%, the investments like these are just no-brainers because that $2,500 is such a small amount in comparison to the whole value, of the property. So investments like these are great because you pretty well know what's going to happen. And if for some reason if you did ever have to foreclose, it would be such a home run that that you come out of it way ahead.
Yeah, exactly. And we could go through and do this with all of these different counties, and you can see how many of them are coming up. These are site opens 11/18, 11/2, and so all these are going to be happening 11/7, 11/28, even this 10/26, 11/11. So we can see all of these different auctions. We can go up this whole list. There's so many of them that are going to be taking place. So there's going to be a lot of opportunity for tax lien investors to participate in these New Jersey sales, during this time of year. And that's one thing that's nice as well is there's so many auctions that'll spread out the competition a little bit. I mean, you can see 11/11, all of these 11s right here in a row. These are all going to be taking place, and so there's going to be a lot of opportunity for us as investors. Now, one thing we will check out before we go quickly, and we're going to make it a little bit shorter tonight, is there's a lot of auctions, as we talked about. California has auctions coming up through Bid for Assets. And of course, we also have all of these Washington auctions that are going to be coming up as well. So there's good opportunity with both Washington and California, and then of course all of the auctions happening in Florida. So let's take a look, and we're just going to look at Bid for Assets real quick. We'll show you.
It's kind of nice too that we're kind of showing a mix here. So if liens are primarily what you're interested in, there's good opportunities we can see coming up here with New Jersey. If it's deeds, we have good opportunities, as well. So I think no matter what you're looking for investment wise, there's a lot of opportunity out there right now.
Yeah, and in the 3 day that we're doing, we're essentially going to be sitting down with each of you, figuring out it, and then going through each one of these auctions that are going to be coming up, because that's essentially some of these auctions are what we're going to be using as we evaluate and research and bid on different properties. But we can see that there's a lot of auctions coming up here pretty quickly in the first part of December. We can see, Santa Cruz, Sierra. Here's that Los Angeles auction that I was talking about. Now, I haven't went through all of the list yet. Well, not even close to all of them. I just went through and looked at some of it, and it looks like that there's a lot of land, and it looks like it's a huge land sale. They're just trying to, get rid of all the land, and there's a lot of property with lower bid amounts. So there's 664 properties. So if you're, a deed investor and you're interested in land, I mean, you can't. We all know that property in Southern California is incredibly expensive. Southern California is just a real expensive place, and all of, throughout LA as well. And so there's going to be all kinds of opportunities. So with this, I would probably start with the Excel file and then go through it. One thing I also wanted to show you at, which I thought was kind of interesting. Let me see, what was it? Oh, Sierra, that was right. Here's an auction coming up, and it just has one property. It's in Sierra County, California. December ends on the 5th. And what it is it is a mobile home park, which is kind of cool, I think. I mean, you're talking about, automatically having rental income coming in. I have to do some
Yeah.
more research. I just looked at it, tonight. But, you can see that it's on 12 acres. It has an opening bid of 265,000. And I had to do a little bit more research, but when I looked at it, it looked like it was a full mobile home park. They've got some images here, so you can see, down throughout here, and 11 acres is a pretty big chunk of land.
Yeah, that's a pretty good size little park there. It'd be interesting too to figure out about how many lots are there, and you might even be able to look on a satellite image and get an idea fairly recently, of how many lots are there and filled currently.
Yeah, so it looks like there's a couple of different properties on it. And we'd have to do some real more research. This is a pretty big investment, but you're looking at a 10-acre mobile home park. So interesting. There's all kinds of there's all kinds of different things. The reason, a few years ago, mobile home parks were kind of a big craze in real estate investing, where people wanted to do them just because they're a great way for residual income, and you don't have to worry about any maintenance or anything like that. You just provide the pump and the that kind of stuff, and you pay a lot fee, and essentially if they don't pay you, they get evicted. But you don't have to worry about fixing somebody's faucet or anything like that. um, Also, we can see that there's some pretty good auctions coming up in Washington. We can see that this one has 75 properties on it. So 75 properties is still a pretty good sized tax deed sale, and there's going to be a lot of opportunities. Now, usually what me and Shade like to do when we get into these bid for asset auctions is we like to download the Excel list. It just helps us get a better idea of what's available. So with here, we're kind of limited in what information they've given us, but they have given us some. We can see if there's an address and the acreage, but they didn't give us as much as they usually do. So what we're going to essentially do with a list like this is really just look by address and by price, depending on, then of course the assessed value as well helps give us an indication if the property has value. So here's a property with $68,000 value. Let's go ahead and click on that real quick, and we'll see if it's still available and what it is. So you can see it's 2.3 acres. Oh, wow. It's a long,
But,
long strip of land.
yeah, is that the ocean or is that a lake we're looking at
I
here?
don't know.
Are we talking New Jersey?
No, this is
Oh,
in
it's not California.
Washington.
Pierce County, Washington. I'll bet that's seaside.
That's cool. What we can do is we can take a look. Is that the city there?
It's always tricky trying to figure out. They don't list the city names oftentimes in these things. They because it's the county records and they everything is kind of county. But when it comes to finding the place,
Yeah, oh, that's because it's over here. That's the reason I couldn't figure it out where it was. So let's see. Let me check out the parcel. Oh, there we go. Sometimes what we can do is just type in Pierce or Washington. Let's see if it gives us any choices. That's it. So it's in Gib Harbor. Well, I'm not sure if that tells us if it's the ocean or not. Oh, it's a river. It's probably Columbia. Is that the Columbia River?
that is a good question.
Oh, maybe no, it's an inlet. Yeah, it must be. Oh, yeah, it's right there. So I guess it is kind of the ocean in a way. It's the inlet part of it.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
But that's really you does look like a pretty good piece of real estate. You can see some of these homes out here, and you could create a home there with a big private drive. But let's take a look at one more. We'll see one if any of these have any real. Looks like a lot of that in this particular auction is land. Now, of course, land, isn't a bad thing. In fact, especially if you're a first-time deed investor, something like that building lot here could really be a pretty good investment. Let's check let's check out another auction real quick before we go. I guess we're almost out of time. Okay, Douglas County has 19 properties available. We can go through if they're withdrawn. We can go through that pretty quick. So let's take a look at just one or two of them. So it's a $2,000 opening bid, not a very high opening bid. Oh, has a $33,000 value. So that's, this is actually something I would look at because that $33,000 assessed value, it very well could be worth 60 or 70. It might be a good property. One thing that's also nice is if you ever see these title reports, be sure to click on them and review them. In fact, if you're doing any tax deed investing, I always try to see if the county has if they did any type of title search on it, just to see because it saves you the time and the hassle.
Yeah, I love it when they have title reports right there where you can download them with the property.
Yeah, looks like there wasn't any problems I can't see. Let's see. Yes, sold property.
Yeah, it's probably just it's probably just a nice little piece of raw land.
Yeah. So here's some of the different things. So there's the taxes. They have all the different stuff on here. You can see. They even have the tax deed issued right there as well. So that's some pretty good information. What we can do from there is do a little bit more research to find out exactly where this property is. They're not giving us an address. at this point that I can see.
Oh, I think he's basically telling you have to update something or you'd have to.
Oh, I was able to pull it out for us. Wow, if that's the piece of land, that's a huge piece of land.
Yeah, that is a pretty big piece of land there. It's probably, I'm sure it's, yeah, I don't see any other property lines there. It's pretty remote too. It looks like it's landlocked.
Yeah, you can also see this going through it. That's what we'd call an easement
Yeah.
because it looks like there's power lines going through it, right? Is that a power line?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, those are power lines. It's probably some type of camping because you can see that there's roads all throughout here.
Yeah,
Probably hunting or camping or something like that.
so it's like uh, a $2,000 opening bid worth about 30,000.
Yeah, you need to do some more research before
Yeah, right.
worth making an offer on. But I think we're about up out of time. But there's definitely a lot of auctions coming up. We can see all of these ones, and Florida has, some of these counties have 3 or 4 auctions a month, every single month, and so there's just so much opportunity coming up. And if there's anything we can do to help you as you're looking at properties, if you want us to take a look at them or anything like that, be sure to send us an email.
Yeah. Other than that, we appreciate everybody coming out to the webinars. We'll get these recordings available and ready for everybody. But yeah, like Steve said, let us know if there's anything we can do for you.
Thank you guys and have a great evening.
All right, we'll see everybody.